Hey, how are you doing today? Tumbleweed here. Welcome to Tumbleweed Talks. I'm the good guy with the black hat. You should know that by now. Today we're going to deal with the sixth video in a series on the meaning in life, and we're going to talk about the sound we don't hear. Now, I'm as guilty as the next person in this area. In conversation with somebody, they're chatting away, and I'm not listening. Tune them out. Call it as you will, rude, thoughtless, selfish. Most of us are guilty of this listening to the sound we don't hear. Well, it reminds me of the third verse of Paul Simon's song, Sound of Silence. Remember? And in the naked light, I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. We are so often only focused on the unseen. We're surrounded by the glory of God's creation in words and in things, and yet we see and we hear nothing. It's like a blindness of the mind. And as Simon's verse continues, silence like a cancer grows. Well, like so many of us, the people in Paul Simon's song bowed and prayed to the neon god they'd made. And I found in the Bible, 2 Corinthians 4:18, is quite impactful in this regard. It says, so we do not focus on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal. Well, essentially, when we don't listen, when we don't see, when we're missing life's full picture, it's like having the pieces of a puzzle and having no sense of how they connect. We are all too ready to push away the God who made us, to distrust him, and in so doing, rely on some neon god of our own making. It seems easy to turn to any god of our choosing that we can never actually trust, and with such low expectations, such a god would never let us down. I suggest that a great training ground for listening is meditation. It's a sort of centralized prayerful thinking. I contend that we don't do nearly enough of it, and that it's a habit we should strive to develop. In today's stressed world, where our senses are besieged and we never listen, prayer seems like the perfect RX to the malady. What if we were to resolve to devote a small bit of time each day to thinking, meditating, and praying, and listening? Seems so simple, yet such resolve too often goes the way of those New Year resolutions that we know of, or boast of. The lure of stuff gets in the way of what really makes us feel right with our lives, that gives us meaning. It begs the question of whether we truly want the peace in our soul that prayer and listening to God are likely to bring. We're too easily ready to fall back into calling on God only when we desperately need him, treating him more like a prayer vending machine. We're called to participate in our own wellness through prayer, and we botch the job. Here we have a God offering enduring love, faithfulness, strength, total loyalty, and we too easily spurn his entreaties. Recall the song that often captures our heart at Christmas, "It Is Well With Our Soul." Horatio Spafford wrote those lyrics while crossing the Atlantic to console his wife over the loss of his 4 daughters in a shipwreck. So I ask, is it well with your soul? Are we strong and courageous in the face of great life challenges? Tumbleweed contends that engaging with God gets us beyond ourselves, and getting beyond ourselves puts us into listening mode. I try to imagine that the world might be like if we all took a few moments each day to think, meditate, pray, truly listen. Wouldn't you agree that it just might make the world a better place? So, have you truly listened lately? And are you tapping the true potential of your life? I suggest that placing our trust in God through faith in Christ will help us to not only hear, but listen, that silence gains voice. Cast light on the darkness around you. In listening, there is light. Just saying.